Good evening, Lisa.
All right, Cockle.
I beg your pardon.
That's what Graham says.
Is that your Bradley Walsh
That's
impression?
my Bradley Walsh impression. My bad Bradley Walsh impression. Sorry, Bradley Walsh, if you're ever watching this.
For tonight, we have just seen for the second time.
Yes.
Doctor Who.
Yes.
Rosa.
Rosa. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think I get the idea. You rather like that.
I did.
Because I certainly did.
Yes. Yes. It doesn't get any less powerful seeing it the second time.
Yeah.
Even though you know what's going to come. I didn't feel quite so uncomfortable watching it this time. I felt really uncomfortable watching it yesterday. Not because it was bad, but just because of the things that were happening in it.
Well, you wrote today's blog post about it,
yes.
didn't you? Which is not long gone up. But yeah, watching it the second time, I was just interested in some of the sort of the themes as well, because this is our first historical story
of this series,
and it almost felt a bit Sapphire and Steel, because basically the TARDIS crew have to guard history.
Yes, they have to make sure history's
but
not
only
changed.
guard it. That's the thing.
They can't change it. So in some ways, it's like the Time Meddler.
Well, this is it. Each sort of Doctor Who production team has a slightly different theory about how history works, you know. And if we said that if last week's episode was the Keys of Marinus, is this week's episode the Aztecs? Yeah. In the thing about you cannot change history.
Not one line.
Yeah. But then there's the thing in the Reign of Terror about, you know, the events will happen as they were meant to, unless you've got some outside influence, which, as you say, is the Time Meddler.
Yeah.
And you sort of briefly spoke about that, but clearly, what's his name? Crasco?
Crasco.
He's not the Time Meddler, because he's a much nastier piece of work.
He's a very much nastier piece of work. I see somebody describe him as a space racist, a spacist.
Spacist, okay. And then he, of course, with his sort of neural inhibitor...
He's a bit like Gan.
He's a bit like Gan from Blake 7.
Yeah.
So it's just interesting the way these sort of sci-fi ideas are coming in almost from different series a bit. Yes, you've got your vortex manipulator.
Yes. But that's the easy way to do it, you know, because that's already been established with Captain Jack and River Song.
Yeah.
And using Stormcage as well, which is where River Song was imprisoned, when she was imprisoned.
I mean, it's too early to tell yet, but it'll be interesting to see what the sort of theory of time is for the next few historical stories, to see how malleable events are. I really don't know. And as I said, because it's a new team, it's sort of uncharted waters at the moment. We haven't quite nailed down how they think history works. So I shall be interested.
But it's interesting, apart from the King James one, which is coming on later in the run, that the two historicals are at particular events.
Yeah.
So you've got obviously the Rosa Parks sit-in.
I wouldn't say too much in case people don't know.
And the next one is when it's set is it's called. Well, the title's in Doctor Who magazine.
Yeah, but not everybody knows.
Well,
so yeah.
When you say the title, you'll see where it's set.
Yeah. But yeah, no,
it's on in a couple of weeks.
I know, but
it's not really much of a spoiler. It's all over the internet.
Well, that's the thing. Some people will know, and some people won't want to know. And I'm certainly of the opinion that if you don't want to know, we're not here to.
Well, it's set an interesting time in history.
Yeah.
And still fairly recent.
Yes.
History.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, I mean, this felt very, very confident in the writing. I think this. Again, it's a fairly simple story.
Yeah.
We're not getting into too much sort of sci-fi nonsense getting in the way. But yeah, the whole everybody sort of, you know, of the four in the TARDIS, everybody has something to do.
Yes.
Everybody's important.
Yes.
And it's nicely sort of dished out as to who gets to do. Yeah. To do what?
To do what? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yes, Bradley is still having a bit of the comedy.
Yeah, but then
stuff,
he's
isn't he?
good with comedy, isn't he?
But Ryan's getting to do some funny bits as well.
Yeah, I liked all his stuff with when he's after. Oh, this depends if we've seen the episode. After he does what he does to Crasco.
Yeah. He starts talking to himself to remind himself what to do.
Yes.
Yeah, that would be me. Yeah. What do I do next? Oh, yeah. But, I mean, we said about the time meddler, and there's that list of, things to do and that Peter Butterworth's got. And, we seem to have something similar going on here. But, yeah, sort of it's very interesting to see the response to this episode in the media, and I think it's
provoked a lot of debate.
Yeah,
as well it should,
because it wasn't sort of it all trending on Twitter last night.
Last night's the top two, 1 and 2 were trending was Doctor Who and Rosa Parks.
Because you said that you didn't really know that much about it.
I am ashamed to say that I knew very little about Rosa Parks.
But again, it's not really the sort of thing that's necessarily taught.
It probably is taught now.
Yeah, but not to people of our age.
No. As it has been remarked on repeatedly on television, all we were taught were Nazis and Tudors.
Yeah.
Because they were conceived to be the most influential times, the Second World War and the Reformation.
But you've got horrible histories to thank a bit, haven't you?
Yes, because there is a song about Rosa Parks and about her sitting on the bus, but that's all I knew. So I looked it up, and she'd already been involved with the sort of the movement, the civil rights movement, and obviously she knew Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
And it sort of went on from there. They
because I think it's very interesting how that scene is done. That basically Bradley Walsh doesn't want to be there at all. He's like really, really uncomfortable with doing it.
You can see the look in his eyes, and he's hating every second. He wants to stop what's going to happen, but you can't.
Yeah, the whole point is that the TARDIS crew have to do nothing.
Yes,
that's the thing. We don't help.
Yeah.
So. They're not the heroes in this situation.
No.
It's entirely Rosa Parks' decision, isn't it?
Yeah. But I like the fact that when she's escorted off the bus by the policeman, that she turns and looks at them, and she almost there's a hint of a smile.
Yeah, I found that quite hard to read actually.
You can she's looking at them going, sort of thinking, well, I know you didn't get involved, but I know that you couldn't get involved, so it's up to her.
I mean, it's very interesting that you say about watching it and feeling uncomfortable. It did feel like a very alien sort of environment to me.
Yeah, it's just it's weird because it's.
I mean, it's not that long ago.
No, it's 62 years ago. No, 63 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's a whole other world. But there is still stuff like that going on now.
Well, that's the thing. I mean. Yeah, looking in the news in the last couple of days,
unfortunately,
that's the thing.
Yes.
I mean, again, it often happens with Doctor Who stories that there's a bit of timing with things that are happening, in the news, and you don't sort of plan for this necessarily, but it's reflecting society, which is what it always.
And society has moved on.
Yeah.
Some parts of society have moved on slower than others. But hopefully we are now getting to the situation where everybody is treated equally. Yeah. Male or female or whatever.
Yeah. But I think so far this has been my favourite episode of this season.
Yeah. It's a lovely story. There's so many nice moments, and you would think they wouldn't be able to get too much comedy in it, but they manage it, because... I
mean, let's talk about the writer here, because I don't really know her work, really.
Yeah, Mallory Blackman. Yeah. She wrote a Doctor Who story for the 50th anniversary.
Right.
They did an anthology thing with the... it might have been the year after, actually. Well, they did some in 2012, and with one... Each writer wrote a story for a different Doctor, and I can't remember which Doctor she wrote for, but you've got some other people like Charlie Higson wrote one, and all sorts of different people, and we have got it in.
But it was the idea. It was like sort of celebrity writers, though, wasn't it? A bit?
Yes, it was well-known writers because she was children's laureate.
Yeah, I was going to say,
so that brings a real kudos to it as well.
Because again, I just saying this and thinking about it, I think it's we've had some Target novelisation type books, in the last year or two of old stories like Rose and Day of the Doctor and things like that. I really want this one to be done by her as well. Yeah, obviously by her.
Yes.
But, whether she's got the time, I don't know. Because this is the thing, we're getting some new writers on board, and I think there's some fairly heavyweight names. Do you think? Yeah.
So she's probably the most recognisable of all the ones to come.
And in some ways, I did feel that the nearest thing, and this is quite an innovative, sort of approach to a story. The nearest thing I felt that I'd seen in recent years is probably Vincent and the Doctor, isn't it?
Yes, and other people I saw on Twitter last night were making that comparison.
Yeah, and again, that's Richard Curtis, who's quite a celebrity writer. That's the thing. So of course he doesn't really come back to Doctor Who.
No,
but I really hope she will.
Hopefully she will. Yeah. I mean, I think she's a fan, so. Yeah, she's probably
perhaps more so than Richard Curtis, I think.
Yes.
No, because I have seen sort of stuff where she said she's, she is a fan, which is why she did the book in the first place.
Yeah, the story.
So yeah,
and it's a great story, and if it influences you to go and find out more about Rosa Parks, and I mean I still know woefully little about the civil rights movement, apart from, I think the only thing I know is knowing that Martin Luther King Jr., as it was assassinated, which is a real shame. But
let's briefly talk about some of the actors that people might not realise have got sort of Doctor Who or other connections.
Yes.
So Morgan Dear's in it for about 3 seconds.
He's terribly rude to Ryan.
Because Morgan Dear from Delta and the Bannermen.
Yes.
I didn't really recognise him the first time, but second time I went, oh right, it is. And of course Delta and the Bannermen's only a few years later. That's 1959, isn't it? Yeah.
Later, yes.
Yeah. And who's it you said about Alfred Marks?
The policeman is played by his son Gareth.
Oh right, okay.
And you can sort of see the resemblance.
All right,
but he's doing an American accent, obviously.
Would I know him from anything else?
I think the only other thing I've ever seen him in is, obviously he has done other stuff. He was in Bugs once.
Oh right, okay.
But
didn't watch that.
He's obviously, he's been in a lot.
Sorry, Stephen Gallagher. I didn't watch that.
I haven't really looked him up, but yeah.
Yeah, all right, okay.
So, and the writer and the actor that played the bus driver, James Blake, has got quite a lot of more Twitter followers, including us.
Okay.
He's really nice, I'm sure. Really. he's actually Canadian and not American. So.
Okay. Yeah. But as I say, I want to see the next historical now based on this.
Yeah. And it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
Might be a little bit controversial because of when it's set.
I hope so, yes.
But again, it's a thing that should provoke debate.
But that's the thing, that I want these historicals not to pull any punches. And I think this one is very much a case of follow that. Yeah. So let's hope this sort of standard and sort of level of innovation is maintained. Because I want people to be surprised by the things that Doctor Who does.
Yeah.
I don't want... It's always a worry when people think they know what a Doctor Who story is like. And hopefully the word of mouth on this one...
will encourage new people to watch.
Yeah, we'll get new people on board. And I know there are new people sort of joining with this season, which is brilliant. But I think this episode has done some good in that department as well. And again, it's the whole thing about people having sort of talk with their kids afterwards as well.
I know I saw a few tweets where people said they'd watched it with their children, and their children were absolutely amazed and horrified by the way people were treated just because they were a different colour
Well,
to the other people.
the best one I saw, and I can't remember who did it, where somebody said their kid said to them, "So, was she not allowed on the bus because she wore glasses?" And
Right,
that's how
okay.
they thought she was different
Oh, because she wore glasses.
because she wore glasses.
Okay.
So that
Yeah.
kid was coming to it thinking the only different thing
With her that she wore glasses.
was that she wore glasses. Yeah.
That is excellent.
So that
Yeah.
made me smile. That
Mhm.
that's you know that's the proper attitude.
Yeah.
That yeah.
Mm.
So that was great. But yeah.
Mhm.
So if Doctor Who has ruffled some feathers in some departments
Yes.
and
Good.
caused other people to discuss things,
Good.
then that's what
Mhm.
good drama should do.
Yes. Yes.
So
Yeah.
very very impressed with that, and let's see where we go next. Shall
Well,
we?
we know we're going next. Sheffield.
Yeah.
And spiders.
Oh.
Mm.
Yeah, because I like the way that we watched the episode, then the trailer for the next one started, and Martha immediately came in the
Yeah.
room. Because
She loves spiders.
Martha likes spiders,
Yeah,
doesn't
she
it?
was playing as
Because
one
you don't
last
mind
week.
spiders,
I don't
do
mind
you?
spiders, no. I usually I had to let one out yesterday because there was one in the bath.
All right.
So
You
I catch them on a bit of paper and flap them out the window. Go on, spider! I'm going, go out the window. People must think I'm nuts because I talk to animals
All right,
all the time.
okay, well, there we go. That's tonight's natter.
Yes.
And we'll say good night and
Mhm.
see you again soon then.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.